Whoa! Trust the system! Whoa! Trust the system! Trust the system! Ah, you need to trust the system! Yes, you need to trust the system! Why you need to trust the system? Welcome to the first episode of the Jumbo Science. In order to explain you what I do in my research activity, I need to start from the very beginning. To properly let you understand what I do in my research activity, I need to explain you what a scientific article is. If you saw the introductory video, I talk about how we as scientists communicate each other. And there are two main ways: scientific paper or article and conferences where we physically met each other. In the next sets of videos, I will let you know about scientific paper. In particular, there will be 4 episodes that will be released on this topic. Episode number 1, what a scientific article is. Episode number 2, what is peer review? Episode number 3, the pyramid of scientific evidence. Episode number 4, scientific journals and open science. Welcome to everyone. In this first episode, I will tell you about what a scientific paper is. Let's say that we need to know some information, some scientific information. So the first thing to do is going to a database, to a data bank. A possible example is Pubmed. Pubmed is one of the most used databases in the biomedic field. It contains most of the scientific literature. Scientific literature can be summarized as all the knowledge, the scientific knowledge available so far. Let's say that in PubMed we write some keywords or something that we need to know, that we want to know, and we put these keywords in a defined way in here, and then we will have a series of results in terms of scientific paper. Each line here contains a specific scientific article. We can read the title of each scientific article, and if we get interested in one of those scientific articles, we can click and go inside to see something more. You will see here not just the title, but also the abstract and the keywords, and also the authors of the paper and the affiliation, which is where the institutions or the companies where the authors worked to produce those studies. Furthermore, it is very important to consider the order of the authors. In particular, the first author is usually the author that made the major contribution to the paper, and usually the last author, or at least from the experience that I have of the academic world so far, for me, is that the last author is the person who is like the senior researcher, like the mentor of the work. The other authors are in the middle, distributed accordingly and in an order decided by the authors. Furthermore, the first authorship can be attributed to more than one author, so it can be indicated that more than one author contributed equally, and so at the point that, for example, 2 authors can be recognized as both co-first author. Lastly, there is the corresponding author. The corresponding author is the person to whom correspondence should be addressed. So if other scientists should talk with the responsible of the research, the corresponding author is the person that should do that. Also in this case, a practice can be the corresponding authorship can be shared among two authors eventually. The abstract contains in 10 or 15 or 20 lines a summary of the entire content of the paper. This means that most of the information that we need to know are already contained in the abstract. The abstract is probably the most important part of a scientific paper. A well-written abstract should give us all the needed information to understand the entire content of the complete paper. Okay, let's say that the title was catchy, the abstract really interested us. Now we want to know something more. Now we want to know all the details of the results obtained for that scientific paper. A scientific paper generally is structured in this way. There is an introduction section, a materials and method sections, a results section, and a discussion section. These generally are the main sections of a scientific paper. The introduction contains all the information needed to understand what is going to be the research. So, what are the available evidence before these articles? What have been conducted by other researchers on that specific field? And reading the introduction should guide us in understanding what the entire research will be about. Generally, the introduction is concluded by declaring the aims of the work, by declaring the aims of that specific research. Then there is the materials and methods section. The materials are the list of things that we need to have to conduct an experiment, the list of things that the researchers bought or used to conduct the experiment. The method section, and so in general they are all together, so the material and method section combined contains all the necessary information useful for other researchers to reproduce the experiments conducted in that study. Because remember, science works in this way. Everything that is conducted to be scientifically sound and to be valid must be reproducible by other scientists working in another corner of the world but still using the same materials and method and possibly obtaining similar results. Scientific evidence is stronger if it is confirmed by other scientists. This is the reason why the materials and methods sections must contain all the necessary information to allow other scientists to potentially reproduce the entire experiment in the exact same conditions. Then we have the results section. Sometimes the results section is combined with the discussion section. Let's take just the results section for now. The results section should contain in form of tables, graph, text, or everything combined the results obtained by performing the experiments described in the materials and methods section. And then there is the discussion section. The discussion section is the part where the authors of an article discuss about the results obtained. Maybe they can compare the results with articles performed by other researchers, and they compare the results obtained and discuss, and the authors can give here their own opinions. But watch out, because this is very important. Always distinguish the scientific evidence, the experimental evidence, which is generally described by the materials and methods and results section to the author's opinion. The author's opinion is very, very important because the authors are the person that have the expertise to not only carry out the research, but also to understand what happened. So they give an interpretation to the results obtained. So the opinions of the authors must be taken into consideration. But remember always to distinguish what is usually reported in the results section, because this reflects the evidence, the scientific evidence observed to the opinions reported by the authors. Then there is easily a conclusion section which summarizes the article in a few lines. And then there are also some other minor sections, but minor just in terms of text, because they, in my opinion, are still very important. A very important part is the acknowledgement section, in which the authors acknowledge other persons or maybe other institutions that were involved in the study, even though they are not acknowledged as authors. This section can also include where the money to conduct the research were obtained, but this can also be put in a separate section called the funding. The funding section, we can call it, should report briefly from where the money were obtained to perform the research. Because you know, guys, we are still in the war, and we are still in a war where money is, unfortunately in my opinion, money is very important in this war. And this is very important also for science. To conduct our research, we as researchers need money. It is very important, and it is a scientifically important information to report in this section from where the money were obtained to conduct the research. Because there is a difference, you know, and watch out for this. If money were obtained from a public institution or from a third-party company not involved directly with the results obtained, well, this is, in my opinion, a very good information and less unbiased information. Instead, if you obtain money from private companies, well, I'm not saying that the results reported there are not real. I'm not saying that. But I just say that if a private company specifically finances a study, this can be a possible source of bias, because the private company will never publish the results that are not in line with the interest of the private company. On the opposite, if the money are obtained from a public institution, for example, from a government or from a caritative organization, well, I would say this is somehow, well, this is different. And then we also have the list of references, because science is a team effort. So throughout the text, you will see some citation that refers to other works already performed, already reported in the scientific literature, and they are reported finally here in the reference section.
Yes, ma'am, but come on! I read the abstract, but still it's so boring, I don't care.
Okay, you can say boring, you can say what you want, but just take into consideration how we as scientists report the results is an information. And I will explain you more about this, and I will in the following videos try to pass you more of the information and to help you to understand a bit how a scientific paper is written. But I would already give you one tip. If you read something interesting and you maybe just find that you don't have the knowledge, you didn't understand properly what is reported in the abstract of the articles, but you are still interested, please don't stop with that. Go on. A scientific paper can be a start for you to understand the argument better. It can be a start or it can be a point to arrive, because it reports the complete set of results. But the tip that I will give you is ask. Ask to your friend, ask to me, ask to you feel is an expert that can help you better in understanding what is reported in the text of a scientific paper. So don't give up. It might be difficult, it might be challenging, but please don't give up. Ask help, ask someone that you feel is an expert. We are always keen to help in understanding science. So please don't give up, try to read, don't understand something, don't stop just because you don't understand. Go on, keep studying, rest, and then the next day wake up and try again to read, and if you still don't understand, ask to a person you know is an expert to help you in understanding. But never give up just because you find something difficult. If you find something boring, okay, that might be a good point. But if you find that this is interesting, the research is interesting, but you just don't have the right knowledge to understand it, please don't give up and ask help to someone that can help you.
Yeah, so if I, let's say, just write those couple of things in that order that you said, and then I publish it somehow, so I will have published a real scientific article, that's something that is not working in your system, you know, man.
That's a good critic, and I will take this occasion for launch my next episode. So if you want to know how this is handled, let's follow up with the next video, the episode 2, what is peer review? And remember, science is awesome! Dear non-Italian followers, I am enjoying that there are some of you that follow my videos. I have a great success with the introductory video, but so far the Italian followers are doing better. So non-Italian followers, keep to follow me, and I think that you can do better. You can do better than Italians. So come on non-Italian followers.